Mind you, this mic does not work. I just need something to be my comfort right now because I'm trying a new format. But hi guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Nikki Vantea. If you've been here before, hey friend, and if you have not, hey, what's up, hello, seen you pretty soon as you came through the door. If you haven't been following me, I am currently traveling over the next 12 months. I am on month 3 of my 12-month journey. I'm traveling to a new destination each month. 12 countries, 12 months. That's the theme of what's happening over on my channel right now. If you've been following me and you've been watching my YouTube videos, you've been hearing the word overwhelmed quite significantly over the past few videos. And it's pretty much been since I started this journey. So to take a few steps back, I quit my 6-figure job with a nice, beautiful bonus and let that go. I moved from New York and then I started traveling. Currently, I'm trying to see where this content creator thing can take me. Basically having an eat, pray, love year, you know what I mean? Previously, I was really in a space where I felt like I really needed to shake some things up. I felt really placed in about where I was in life, and this was my way to move and change things on my own behalf. I'm overwhelmed. I swear if you counted how many times I've said overwhelmed in the past few videos, there will be a lot. So I wanted to talk about that because I am sort of getting to a place where I have leveled out and I don't necessarily feel as overwhelmed anymore. But who's to say that that feeling is not going to come back up? It surely is. This is life. It's definitely going to happen. Because honestly, I feel like I struggled with recognizing, okay, am I overwhelmed from a lot of things that's happening in my life right now? Or am I just running away from responsibilities, tasks, things that I need to do, and just halting and stopping and feeling really exhausted and tired by that? Like, how do I really, truly recognize that feeling of being overwhelmed? And once I know that I'm overwhelmed, then what do I do with that? Do I breathe? Do I take a pause? Do I take a beat? Or do I push through and try to figure things out along the way? So by definition, being overwhelmed, I looked it up, of course. You can just Google it and you'll see the same thing. To bury or drown beneath a huge mass, defeat completely, or give too much of a thing to someone. Now, reading all of this, honestly, it feels like I'm being a little bit traumatic. Like, do you really feel like you are being buried, girl? Do you really feel like you feel defeated? Do you really feel like you have given so much of yourself to everyone around you? And to be quite honest, yeah, I do. It's hard for me to sometimes recognize and also validate my own personal experiences. We live in a world where you have to push through. You have to get no sleep. You have to try harder. You have to do more. You have to show up. You have to be on. You have to be 100% all the time. And that's something that I've always struggled with. Feeling like I have to be at 110%. I have to be in the best mood. I have to show up. I have to do my best. I don't know if you guys relate to me, but I've always felt like I have to do and be the very best at all times. Whether or not that is true, and I guarantee you, I am not always acting like I am the best, but in the back of my mind, I am beating myself up if I don't feel like I've given something my all. By definition, what being overwhelmed means feels like I am doing my own self a disservice. It's like, you really feel like that, girl? Life ain't that hard. Like, let's relax, let's chill. It is really hard for me to validate certain feelings. One of the things that I recognize now, how powerful it is to call a thing a thing. A lot of you guys know, if you watched my channel before, I was very, very severely depressed before I started making content. I was really, really depressed, down and out. One of the things that was so powerful for me was being able to call a thing a thing. So when I was depressed, it was hard for me to recognize and really accept and validate my own feelings and saying, I don't feel good right now. I feel sad right now. I feel hurt right now. My feelings feel hurt right now. I don't feel the best. I can't tell y'all how much power it is to be able to actually sit down, recognize that feeling, maybe in the future coming up with a game plan, but actually sitting and understanding, this is how I feel right now. I'm not gonna tell myself that I don't feel like this, and how much power and strength and how that makes you feel to validate your own emotions on your own, and not looking for a therapist to validate it for you, not looking for your parents to validate it for you, not looking for a friend to tell you, oh, you look depressed, or you look overwhelmed, or looking for your boss boss to tell you, oh, you look completely drained and worn out. When you're able to do that on your own, there is so much power in that. And I wouldn't say that it feels like a weight off of your shoulder, like that feels a little dramatic, but it does take a weight off of your shoulder. I'm feeling all of these feelings, but until I can name a thing, being able to say it out loud, and being able to communicate with those around me if I choose to, and say, I am feeling overwhelmed, I am feeling sad, I do not feel good right now. There is a lot of power in being able to be completely honest and vulnerable with your own self. Now, I have these feelings. Now, what do I do with them? How do I get past this? What that does is it allows you to sit in that emotion and actually deal with that emotion instead of letting it fester. Usually for me, what happens when I feel overwhelmed is that there's one thing that overwhelms me, and then I say, you know what, I don't feel like dealing with that right now. I don't want to be I'm not overwhelmed. I'm not going to be honest with myself and validate that emotion that I feel right now. I am not overwhelmed. Let's move on. Let's tackle the day. And then, of course, as life be lifing, something else piles up on top of that. Oh, I don't feel like dealing with that right now. Then another thing, and then another thing, and then another thing. And from that one little feeling of feeling, oh, I feel a little overwhelmed, and you don't deal with it, and then more piles up, that creates more work, a longer amount of time for you to get and overcome and get past that feeling of being overwhelmed, or get past that feeling of being sad, or get past that feeling of not feeling like yourself. One of the most important things that I've learned over time is that it is really important to be able to deal with stuff immediately. That's one of the reasons why I really value and I really love therapy. For me personally, I would go every week. And it felt like, because I know that I have the tendency to put stuff off, exactly what I said. Like, I don't feel like dealing with this, move it to the back. Therapy gave me a space to like, okay, I know every Friday I'm meeting with this lady. I got this feeling, let me just put it in a notebook and then we'll talk about it there. I don't feel like dealing with it right now. But I gave myself a space and opportunity to deal with those feelings once a week. When you don't allow yourself the space to deal with those feelings, it can get catastrophic, to be honest. For me, you guys have been hearing me say that I'm overwhelmed. It's really because I haven't dealt with why I'm feeling overwhelmed. So I started this by saying I quit my job. I did not give myself a chance to, I don't want to say grieve the loss, but I think that there's no other way that I can really describe it. Grieve the loss of losing that job, or grieve the loss of a city that I worked so hard to be in, or grieve the loss of moving from like, these are all decisions and choices that I made on my own. But I want to be quite honest with you guys that it was quite a quick, rash decision when I made the decision to travel for the next year. Not being able to sit and actually deal with the fact that I quit my job was a lot, and I didn't recognize it was a lot. I don't have to be the best at my job, but I worked my ass off to get to that level. I worked my ass off to be able to have those connections that I had to be able to get in that position. I worked my ass off to get to that salary. I worked my ass off to learn how to do the job the way that I learned how to do the job. I worked my ass off, period, point blank. And so to let go of something that you have worked, I have worked so hard to obtain this position, and now I'm just gonna say, bye-bye to the very thing that I have been working for 10 plus years. I went to school for, I studied for, I moved to another city for. I've been committed to this job for so many years, and I am letting it go. Okay, so I didn't deal with that, right? I didn't deal with that. I didn't think about it, because you wanna know why? I had to then think about, now I have to move from New York. And again, I'm moving from a city where I have spent such an incredible amount of time at, because I have grown as an entire person. I have built so many relationships. I have so many friends. Deciding to leave a city that is so near and dear and close to my heart to travel, it's such a privilege to be able to do what I'm doing, but it was such a quick move, and I wasn't able to deal with the fact that, okay, I just quit the job that I worked so hard for. Okay, I just moved out of the city that I worked so hard to like come up in. I think a lot about how I started my journey in New York, and maybe we'll get into this in a future video, but where I started, how much money I had in my bank account, how little and teeny tiny my job was, and how much work I put in to get that big job and to get that dream apartment that I wanted to live in and to be able to live by myself in New York City. Hello? Because I can't deal with any of those things because now I have to think about preparing myself to leave America to travel. Now, to a lot of people that might seem like a dream come true, but for me, I'm not on this travel experience because I love traveling so much, because I really have, it's on my bucket list to go and do this or that and all of these things. It's all a nice to have for me. Like, it's the cherry on top. It feels great. It's incredible to be able to experience different cultures and to be able to be in a different spot every month. Like, it is a privilege to be able to do what I'm doing. Am I passionate about travel? No. I'm here because, again, I feel like I am having my Eat, Pray, Love year. I need to shake some up. The way my bangles are shaking, that's how I needed my life to shake. And to commit to this for an entire year, I did not take necessary time to think about how overwhelming it is to have all of these changes happen at one time. So many times we don't take a minute, take a beat, take a pause, take a second to think about how overwhelming change can be. Not dealing and handling and thinking about significance of these huge life moments that are happening in your life and just moving on to the next, that's overwhelming. That creates the feeling of overwhelm because you have all of these feelings that you have to sit and handle and deal with, but you're not. You're moving on to the next. At least that's how I've always felt to handle life. You just move on. There's a huge significance in having a breakup. There's a huge significance in moving out of an apartment or moving out on your own. There's a huge significance in looking for a job when you graduate. There's a huge significance in so many things that we just ignore and try to move on and move past. So I don't have all the answers for these feelings, but some of the tips that I can help you walk away with, or that I would need to walk away with on my own as well. Number one is recognizing, well, do I pause in this sense of being overwhelmed, or do I push through? Or better yet, how long should a pause even be? I do firmly also agree, and this is a decision that we all have to make on our own, because I do firmly believe that some seasons in your life require you to give more effort than others. I lost my job and I can't afford to put food on my table. This is not a season for me to just pause and do absolutely nothing. It is not the time to do that, babes. There are some seasons in your life where you do, in fact, have to push through. Depends on the sense of urgency that you have for the things that are happening in your life. Because the reality is that we're always gonna want more in our life. We're always gonna wanna do more. We're always gonna want more money. We're always gonna want a bigger place. We're always gonna want a new job. We're always gonna wanna chase a new business. We're always gonna want something new. There are some seasons where you have to push through, and then there are also some seasons where you can give yourself the space to pause. I have been talking about feeling overwhelmed for quite some time. Have the time to be able to pause for a second. Can I lighten the weight off of my shoulders for just a second? And that's what I did, to be honest. I feel overwhelmed, and if I've called this thing a thing, how can I make my life easier right now? Does that mean changing your schedule? Does that mean being honest and open to the people around you? Maybe if you're working in a work environment and you're talking to your boss, I was always the type of person when I worked with my boss of being very, very honest with where I am mentally with my boss. And understanding, like, if that's a safe space for you, it's a safe space for you. If it's not, it's not. But for me, I've always felt like I've been lucky enough to have good bosses, and being able to be honest with them and saying, I feel overwhelmed. Can we divvy up these responsibilities? And can you take this? Can this person take this? It's about alleviating some of that pressure off of you, at least even for just a mere moment, and asking for help, asking for help. Asking for help. I say it over and over again because I struggle with asking for help. But you do notice a huge difference when you do ask for help and somebody does help you. What are the tasks that I absolutely have to do? Because y'all, I always have so much that I want to do. Like, y'all, I feel like even when I edit my videos on YouTube, I hear myself talk and I'm like, dang, girl. Because y'all be in the comments and y'all agree with what be going on in my head. I really be like, dang, girl, like, you trying to do it all, like, be relaxed. I say I want to read 20 books in a year. I want to be the best influencer known to man. I want to lose 50,000 pounds. I want to run a marathon. I want to do so much stuff. And in a season where you feel overwhelmed, what I had to do recently was really figure out what are the things that I absolutely have to do on a day-to-day basis What is the bare minimum that I absolutely have to do? Being honest with yourself. Yes, there are things that I could probably want to do more of. I want to run 5 miles a day and cook every single day. These are nice to haves. Figuring out what the nice to haves that are in your life and figuring out what the needs to have is in your life. During a season where you feel overwhelmed, it is incredibly helpful to be able to say, okay, I at least did this. I had to pay bills. I at least did that. I wanted to wake up in the morning and make my bed. That is the bare minimum task for me. Done. I want to wake up in the morning and take a shower and brush my teeth. When you're in a season when you're depressed, sometimes even tasks like that are very difficult. But this is what I want to get done. The bare minimum. Creating this list of things that you want to get done, that's the bare minimum. Don't overcomplicate it. Don't stretch out goals of things that you want to do. I want to read 20, like all of these, that 75 hard stuff. Like, forget about all of that for now. Because you're in a season where you are very overwhelmed and we want to get over that hump. Anything else on top of that is exceptional because I feel very overwhelmed right now. And so that's what I've been doing over the past few weeks. It's really doing what needed to get done. I know that I want to post on YouTube once a week on the same day, same time every week, but that felt overwhelming for me. I said to myself, I'm just going to post once a week. Whenever that is, it is what it is. And I know it's not consistent to y'all, and I know it's not consistent for me, and I can beat myself up about it all the time. But it is what it is for right now because I am overwhelmed. The bare minimum that needs to get done is just posting once a week. I didn't give up on it completely, but I'm not going to strain myself to do far more and beyond than what my body and mind wants to do at this time. And figure out a system that works well for you when you're in a season where you feel overwhelmed. The point is, for me, when I feel overwhelmed, I have to figure out how I can do less. How I can be honest with myself about where I am right now and how I can seek out help during a season where I feel overwhelmed. How can I be kinder and more gentle to myself during a season where I feel overwhelmed? Because nobody else is going to understand that feeling that you have in your body like you can. So understanding that and being kind and gentle to yourself during this season is incredibly important. And so now I'm at a point where I've spent a few weeks doing literally exactly what I just explained, and I feel a lot better. Creativity-wise, like I feel like I'm on one right now. I feel in a much better headspace. I'm able to perform better when I'm not overwhelmed. I'm able to show up for people better when I'm not overwhelmed. I'm able to enjoy moments when I'm not overwhelmed, because a lot of times when I am overwhelmed, even when I'm out with friends, it's like, it feels like one more task. And I'm not able to sit and enjoy my time with friends, which sucks, especially when I'm on a journey for 12 months, specifically to learn how to build community, which is one of the huge themes for my life right now, is learning how to build community and show up for people. And I can't show up for people if I don't show up for myself. And overwhelm might sound so minute, so small, so much like something that you can just think past, push through, and do something else. But to take care of yourself doesn't just mean going to the gym. To take care of yourself doesn't just mean going on a solo day. To take care of yourself also means to listen to your body, listen to your feelings, and understand how do you handle, listen, and move forward with these feelings and get yourself to a place where you feel better. Because when you're overwhelmed, like I said, you can't show up for anybody else in the best way possible. Because when you're overwhelmed, you can barely show up for yourself in the best way possible. This is not you showing up at 100%. I'm really happy to be in a much better headspace. Also understanding feelings are not linear. So even though I feel really good right now, even though overwhelmed is like down here and I'm like up here, that doesn't mean that I can't go back down. That doesn't mean that I can't go higher. You know what I mean? But your feelings are not linear. You're not gonna go on one straight path your entire life. So just being able to sit and enjoy these feelings is huge for me. That I don't feel overwhelmed, I feel good, I feel great. So I hope you guys liked this video. This is something completely new for me, because I feel like I was a very small way bring up little topics and you guys will talk about them in the comments and we'll go back and forth. But I would love to start having more dedicated videos to more topics like this. We just get to know each other. This is like a community. We're a community. It's us, never them, okay? It's us. I am in my third destination already. And if you follow me on Instagram, you will already know where I am because I've already released it. But thank y'all so much for watching. I really appreciate it. And I love y'all. Zoom. You already know that. And you already know what's coming next. Complete the heart for me, gang, gang. Complete the heart for me. Yeah, thank y'all so much. And I will talk to y'all next time in a couple days because I already got a video ready for y'all. All right.